Chiefs Kingdom, welcome back to another episode of All Chiefed Up. We're back with another podcast for that ass in the day, Steve. We're talking about Justin Jefferson on the trade block. We're talking about ESPN insiders predicting Mike Evans to KC. We've got wide receiver mania going on. Let's talk about it.
Before we jump into the content, we appreciate you guys being here. Please hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you have not already. Mike, they're talking big-time receivers for the Chiefs after seeing the Chiefs being a little weak in wide receiver last year.
Right.
Does Brett Veach actually make that big of a splash?
Hey, Chiefs Kingdom's horned up right now, Steve. They're wanting a receiver. They see these big guys.
Horned up.
They're seeing
They're
Justin
rocked up,
Jefferson.
son.
Hey, they're seeing Justin Jefferson on the trade block. They're seeing Mike Evans predicted to go to the Chiefs. Let's start with Justin Jefferson. Vikings rumors by Adam Patrick. Minnesota is willing to listen to Justin Jefferson trade offers. He says, Vikings rumor, it's picking up steam. With Jefferson and the Vikings still not agreeing to an extension, some have suggested the possibility of a team trading the superstar wide receiver. On Sunday, the Pioneer Press Charlie Walters shared that steam continues with the Vikings could make Justin Jefferson available for trade. With Walters, this could be a mix of both speculation and things he's heard from some possible team sources. So his comment doesn't seem like something that should be ignored. Steve, they're saying that shouldn't be ignored. What do you think about it? Are the Chiefs even going to be able to play ball if he is on the trade block? Do we even try it?
Well, let's think of it this way. What team in their right mind would try to trade for Justin Jefferson and then have to pay what that man is going to be worth? Like, they have to be almost desperate. I can't see the Chiefs touching this one with a 10-foot pole, just for the simple fact that he's going to want Tyreek Hill money. We didn't want to pay Tyreek Hill money.
He's going to want a lot of money, Steve. Check out this quote. This was from Justin Jefferson. I want to break the bank, and I want to be part of an organization that wants me and to really give me what I deserve. That's what he said in an interview with Mad Dog Sports Radio. It says Wednesday, but I don't remember when he actually said that. That was a few weeks ago. But he says he wants to break the bank. Are the Chiefs going to break the bank? Is Brett Veach going to magically go from not going after any kind of top-notch receivers to breaking the bank? I just don't see it. I think Chiefs Kingdom's getting a little crazy here. But I have seen it said that if you get a wide receiver such as the caliber of Justin Jefferson on this team, who needs defense? You can get rid of Chris Jones at that point. Take some of that $30 million you're going to give Chris Jones per year and give it to the wide receiver.
If anyone didn't happen to watch last season, we had a pretty bad wide receiver room. We had an elite defense. We won the Super Bowl. So guess what? Let's just beef up our wide receiver room, try to keep our defense intact. You don't have to have a Justin Jefferson. And besides, don't get me wrong. I think Justin Jefferson is potentially the best wide receiver in football. He's a freak athlete. The guy's amazing. But paying anyone that much money is just absurd. And do you really want a guy that's so me on your squad? Like, literally, if that's the only thing in his head is, I want to break the bank, I want to get what I deserve, anyone that's not really going to fit into the Andy Reid, Brett Veach mold now.
That's what most of these receivers and players want these days. SpotRack has actually come out and said that his market value is $28.2 million, and that is a conservative figure. They're estimating that he's going to want 4 years right at about $120 million. If you guys think that Brett Veach is going to open his pocketbook and pay 4 years $120, not to mention probably giving up first-round picks or whatever it's going to take to get this kid.
Right.
I don't see this happening. And to be honest, that's the kind of thing that could happen. And if the Chiefs was to make something as asinine of a move like that, and then Justin Jefferson has a couple hammy issues and misses a bunch of games, that could set our franchise back right out of the dynasty mode.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Mike. A team that does that is going to be a team that absolutely shoots themselves in the foot.
I'm hearing right now that the number one team that's wanting to try it is a win-now team, a team that needs some receivers, and they're wanting to pair them up with Garrett Wilson in New York with the Jets. That's I'm hearing it.
That's the perfect New York Jets move now, isn't it? Like, they're just trying to splooge to actually win a Super Bowl in this century, and it's not going to happen. It's going to bite them in the ass, just like Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
You know, Aaron Rodgers went down in the first drive of the season after they paid him a boatload of money. Sometimes, going out and buying the best player available and doing everything you can to get that player it's not always the smart move for a franchise, and this is a good example of it.
Right. So if you've been watching our lives or anything, we revealed our free agents that we actually thought. We went through and we looked at it. We looked at the money. We looked at everything, our needs, what we like to go for, and we compiled our list of the free agents, the top 10 that we thought the Chiefs would pursue. This is what we come up with. Number 1, Marquise Brown. Number 2, Curtis Samuel. Number 3, Darnell Mooney. I know a lot of people are talking about Mooney. 4, Calvin Ridley. 5, KJ Osborne. That's Justin Jefferson's running mate over there. 6, Mecole Hardman. 7, Mike Evans. 8, Amir Smith-Marset. 9, Michael Pittman Jr. And 10, Tyler Boyd. Steve, the one name on this list that's getting a lot of heat, being on X or wherever else, and they said it's not a serious thing to put on the list. Number 8, Amir Smith-Marset. Why is that not the craziest thing if you look down the list?
Well, I do have to say this. It was a little bit tongue-in-cheek. A little bit. Because the only reason we really put him on
So's
there
Mecole Hardman, let's be honest.
Right. Well, sort of. But I feel like anybody that is going to be like dirt cheap and that the Chiefs have already had there's a good chance that they're going to sign them and use them.
We traded for Mecole Hardman, and we didn't think that was the solution. I mean, I like the way he stepped up in the Super Bowl. He caught a big pass. He caught the touchdown pass to win it. But I don't think anybody can look at Mecole Hardman and say that is the answer to our wide receiver woes long term. However, when you look at the wide receivers and the amount of money they're going to be getting and what Brett Veach may or may not spend on said wide receivers, the Mecole Hardmans are not out of the question. I could totally see Brett Veach offering him again. I could see him offering a guy like Amir Smith-Marset, who, by the way, would have made the roster, if they wouldn't have had to hang on to the Justin Ross and this and that. But now that you may restructure MVS, maybe they want to bring him back and say, hey, this kid looked pretty good in the preseason. Maybe he's familiar enough that he can make the team this year.
I like seeing the people do a complete 180 because last season or in the preseason, Amir Smith-Marset was the wide receiver we had to have. He was better than most of the wide receiver ones in the league. He was just great. And the minute that you flip the script on him a year later, they're like, well, this is asinine that he's on this list. Why would he be on the list? It's funny. And yeah, it was a little bit tongue in cheek, but like you said, Mike, anyone that's cheap and anyone familiar with the system, you can almost bet they're going to have a pretty good chance of being signed to the Chiefs. So having him at number 8 on this list is not crazy. I also think Richie James could have made this list just because I could see them sign another 1-year deal with him or something like that. Anybody that's familiar, anybody that's cheap, Brett Veach and crew tend to sign those kinds of guys just for depth pieces, if nothing else. So definitely a thing. And, we talked about Justin Jefferson, Mike, and the Chiefs paying $30 million a year for Justin Jefferson. My question to you is, don't you think it would be a smarter move to pay Mike Evans $24 million a year for, say, 2 or 3 years, as opposed to Justin Jefferson for $30 million a year for 4?
That's a very intriguing segue, Steve, because here we've got this. Chiefs predicted to make a bold move to land $82.5 million wide receiver Mike Evans. This was reported. It says, with the NFL raising the salary cap to $255.4 million, Kansas City has more wiggle room to make a bold move, says ESPN insider Aaron Schatz. Schatz. Hey,
Aaron Schatz the bed.
You can't say the word Schatz and not just stop and talk about it for a second.
We have to. He shat the bed. Aaron Schatz. Aaron shat the bed. Aaron shat himself.
Okay, that's
Aaron
enough.
Schatz.
He predicts the Chiefs will land one of the most sought-after pending free agents and sign Mike Evans. It's hard to critique the team, he says, that just won a second straight Super Bowl, but we all know that the Chiefs wide receivers were disappointment. The Chiefs receivers entered the postseason leading the league in dropped passes. He then goes on to say, start with the best player on the market, and he just happens to have a ring of his own already. Evans ranked 23rd in DVOA among qualifying wide receivers last season and has 10 straight years with at least 1,000 receiving yards. He's money in the red zone with 13 touchdowns last season. Imagine Mahomes throwing to Evans on one side with Rashee Rice and the other side, Travis Kelce in the middle. So he's talking Rashee Rice on one, Mike Evans on one, and Kelce in the middle. It's enough for Chiefs Kingdom to already start planning another celebration. Steve, this sounds fine and dandy. He was also on our list, by the way, but we had him at number 7. Why? Because we still don't think Brett Veach is going to throw out that much money for a wide receiver.
It's all about that money, baby. But let me tell you something. If you're going to spend some money, that's the place to do it, in my opinion. I'm kind of with Mr. Shat himself here, because I think that if you had Mike Evans on this team, he's an automatic 1,000-yard receiver. The guy's a monster red zone threat, which is what the Chiefs need badly. Right. They need consistency. They need a red zone threat. They need somebody to take some heat off of an aging Travis Kelce. They need somebody to mentor a growing, upcoming Rashee Rice. Mike Evans is the signing if you want to spend that much money on one particular player.
Right. If it's between me, would Justin Jefferson be better long-term? Yes. But the money doesn't make sense.
Are you sure about that? See, that's my thing.
Yeah.
You want to think, yeah, he's younger and he's great. But at the same time, like, just the longevity that Mike Evans has had, what he's proven already that he can do year in and year out. Do you really risk what Justin Jefferson might do?
Well, Justin Jefferson's proved it through his career. He's got huge numbers.
Granted, but he also had some injury concerns. I think that I feel like the money would be safer spent with Mike Evans. I feel like there's a little bit of a question mark with Justin Jefferson.
Well, I think people question the age. They question, how do you want to pay a receiver aging that much money? He could slow down at any time with no warning signs. That's been known to happen.
I really think even 2 years, 3 years with Mike Evans, I think you're solid there.
So Mike Evans, we got him number 7 on the list, by the way. It's looking like we had T. Higgins on the list at number 10. T. Higgins is going to get, well, he did get, he got franchise tag. It looks like Michael Pittman's probably going to get it too. I would think Michael Pittman's getting it at number 9. If you look down the list, in my opinion, though, Mike Evans, for the amount of money he harbors, I would honestly say at $15 million for Marquise Brown, I think is a better deal and a more likely scenario in Kansas City. I think Curtis Samuel at the $11 million, a more likely scenario in Kansas City. Darnell Mooney, I'm not for sure what Darnell Mooney would probably bring. Somewhere around what, the 8 to 10 million mark?
No, honestly, I think he was somewhere around, let me see. I have his market value right here, Mike.
Well.
He's actually at, if I can find him, $11 million market value.
Okay, so him, Curtis Samuel are right around 2 and 3 is right around what we're paying MVS. Calvin Ridley's up there. He's around 17 mil. He's actually higher than Marquise Brown. KJ Osborne's a very cheap prospect, a cheap shot in the dark right there. I would prefer KJ Osborne over Mecole Hardman for new blood. But yeah, I would think Marquise Brown, Samuel, or Mooney seems to be probably where they're going to go. What do you think?
I agree with that, and I think that's the bottom of where you should go. I think if the Chiefs want to address the wide receiver position correctly, in my opinion, I'm not saying that Brett Veach and Andy Reid ain't smarter than me, but in my opinion, I think you don't go any lower than Marquise Brown, Calvin Ridley. Maybe Curtis Samuel. I do like what that guy offers at the like $11.5 million market value. But in my opinion, though, this is my pitch for Mike Evans. If you're going to pay $15 million a year for Hollywood Brown or Calvin Ridley, why wouldn't you pay an extra $8 or $9 million per year?
That's a lot.
And it is, but it isn't, right? Because I feel like that Mike Evans solves your problem completely with no question marks. Like that guy's gonna take care of you.
Whereas Hollywood Brown, even Calvin Ridley to a certain degree, it's like, well, now they got to come here. They've got to learn the system, and they may or may not produce. I think Mike Evans would produce.
Just like everything else in life, Mike, you get what you pay for most of the time. Just got to be careful.
Right. I really like the Curtis Samuel one. I don't think a lot of people's thought about him, but I really like what he brings. He brings a lot of stuff, sort of like a Debo Samuel. He's an upgraded Mecole Hardman in a way.
I like him.
He gets carries out of the backfield. He runs good routes. He gets himself open, in zone. I like him. I think that's a good one. But at the end of the day, is Curtis Samuel a wide receiver 1 in this league? No. He's still not a wide receiver 1. He's that 11 million mark wide receiver 2. And I just don't know. I think the Chiefs may consider redoing MVS's contract and giving him $7 or $8 million more. They'd want to throw $11 million at an unproven that's got to come in and learn. So I don't know where they're going to go with it, Steve. And this is going to be the fun part of free agency. We got a lot more to cover, by the way. Yeah, there's so much to dig into. We've just now put the toe in.
The fact that they raised the salary cap by $30 million makes Mike Evans all the more intriguing. Of course, there's a lot of things for Brett Veach to wrap up this offseason. a lot of guys to sign back and or let go.
Right.
A lot of different decisions to make. But I think opening up that salary cap by $30 million, that gives you that helps you with a couple of things, man. That lets you look at someone like a Mike Evans if you want to make that decision. It also lets you sign back Chris Jones and even potentially throw something at L'Jarius Sneed. So I think that there's ways that they can work this salary cap, Mike.
Would you
I'm
rather
excited to see what Brett Veach and staff come up with, man.
Would you rather, if you could only take one of them, you could throw money at Mike Evans or you could retain Sneed? Which one would you do?
Are you going to make me answer this?
I'm going to make you answer that.
In front of Jesus, Chiefs Kingdom, and everybody?
Yeah, and the pressure's on because I have a feeling they're going to pitchfork you.
Don't pitchfork me, guys. But hear me out. I love L'Jarius Sneed. I do. And I would love to have him back on the team. But I think Trip McDuffie can take over that role. And I think we got some guys waiting in the shadows back there with Joshua Williams. I think we could take a shot on Mike Evans for 2 or 3 years. And I think that would elevate our offense to a different level than we've seen in years. And it would maintain our defense at a pretty high level.
Right.
Yeah, you're going to take a little bit of a hit by losing L'Jarius Sneed in that secondary. But how big of a hit will it be? It's yet to be determined because I really do love everything Trent McDuffie does. And I think that Joshua Williams and even Jalen Watson can do some damage out there, man. So if they get more opportunities under their belt, I don't see a big, huge drop-off, but we'll see.
Right. Tagging Sneed would be $19 million, somewhere around there, guaranteed. It's only $3-4 more million you could pull in Evans, and the way that contract would go is you may not have to eat all of that in one single season.
Right.
So it may actually be more team friendly to pay out the 23-24 than to just be hit with the $19 million right on the cap. So that's going to do it for the day. Let us know in the comments. Would you like to make a trade for Justin Jefferson? Would you like to pay Justin Jefferson? Would you like to go after Mike Evans? Do you want somebody off our top 10 list? Are you a Marquise Brown guy? Are you a Curtis Samuel, a Mooney guy, Calvin Ridley? Would you just want to stick with MVS and McCole Hardman? Let us know. Be sure to like, subscribe, click that bell. Steve, go Chiefs.
Get wild.